This is a Fox News alert about our top story. Now, new developments. South Korean media is reporting that North Korea is considering an attack near Guam. The Pacific island is a U.S. territory and home to a large American military presence that includes a U.S. anti-missile system. Again, the South Koreans reporting that the North is talking about attacking
President Donald
Guam
Trump on Tuesday giving North Korea his most aggressive warning to date.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Just hours after those comments, North Korea's state-run news agency saying the DPRK is seriously considering a plan to strike the U.S. territory of Guam with missiles. But Reuters national security editor John Walcott says it's likely more tough talk than anything else.
It's loud rhetoric, it attracts attention, it puffs him up the same way that kind of rhetoric puffs any number of world leaders up. It doesn't mean he's about to do it, and frankly, I would not pay a lot of attention to the suggestion from President Trump that if Kim continues to threaten, it's going to be met with fire and fury, because that would produce a war that would claim hundreds of thousands of lives in South Korea, probably in Japan, maybe in Guam, certainly in Okinawa, without Kim even using nuclear weapons. So we have two leaders here talking about attacks that would be catastrophic. This is more hysteria than it is anything else.
The other big development on Tuesday coming from the Washington Post, which said officials from one U.S. intelligence agency believe that North Korea has successfully produced a miniaturized nuclear warhead that can fit inside its missiles. But Walcott says North Korea still has a long way to go.
There are serious doubts about whether the North Koreans have really succeeded in miniaturizing a weapon that's usable. They haven't tested one, and they're missing the other crucial ingredients of a credible nuclear weapons program. A rocket that has proven that it can carry a nuclear warhead into space, a guidance system capable of delivering that weapon where it's supposed to go, and most important of all, a warhead design and nose cone that can survive re-entry from space into the Earth's atmosphere. They don't have any of those components. They haven't tested them. So the North Koreans are perhaps not as close to being a threat to Los Angeles or Seattle as that initial report seems to suggest.
Washington has warned it is ready to use force if need be to stop North Korea's progress with nuclear weapons, but has said it prefers global diplomatic action, including sanctions. The UN Security Council unanimously passed a resolution over the weekend banning North Korea exports coal, metals, and seafood, meant to press the country to renounce its nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles.
Facts come in. Let's go to senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott with more. Greg?
Harris, it is an alarming report coming from the Washington Post, and at least one of my valued sources on the subject of North Korea thinks that it is true. Let's go through the report very quickly. Washington Post quoting defense intelligence officials saying that North Korea is now capable of producing nuclear weapons for ballistic missile delivery. That is, a warhead small enough to put on one of the many missiles that they have been testing. Now, North Korea, if you remember, has been claiming exactly that. Last year, in fact, they said they tested one such bomb, and they even showed a picture, which we weren't sure was accurate or not, showing Kim Jong-un with a miniaturized bomb. Again, we weren't sure that was true, but if this report is true, it means that these ICBMs, for example, two of them that we've seen launched last month, that we've been saying was capable of hitting the United States, could have something lethal on top. Again, Harris, let me go back to my source. His name is Mark Fitzpatrick. He's with the International Institute of Strategic Studies, and I just got off the phone with him discussing this with him. He's based in Washington, D.C. He says basically this is what analysts have been saying for a while now, that North Korea is capable of doing this, that they're very competent technological people. They've been working working on this for 30 years, but governments have been a little bit more reticent to say they are at this crucial threshold. I think my own analysis, Harris, is that today, early this morning, U.S. time, Japan came out with a report citing their own officials saying that they believed that North Korea was capable of miniaturizing these nuclear warheads. Perhaps that is what pushed some people in Washington to talk to the Washington Post about this and say this. One final note on this, Harris, is that also in that report it says that there are 60 warheads now possibly in the arsenal of North Korea. Fitzpatrick and others think that's a little bit high. It's maybe more like 20 or 30, but frankly, that's quibbling with numbers at this point, Harris.
Yeah.